Hello, all. It's Robert Knowles back. I almost said Rambling Canuck. Wow. It's Robert Knowles back with another wonderful edition of Stories with Mr CCDV, who's a United States vet, and he's getting his story out while he still can. And
All right. I keep
we're
forgetting you use your real name on this show. I
yeah,
bet.
I do. Yeah, it's one of those things that Richard wanted to do, and I went why, and he went because, and I went okay. Um,
Yeah. It's one of those things where I've been protecting my anonymity so long. It's just habit for me now. But there.
There we go, Danny Christopher.
Sergeant First Class Christopher.
All right, so just take a quick spin through the chat. We have Dadman. We have, of course, Miss Canuck, who has a meeting at work, so hopefully they don't piss her off too much. And we have Kronos. We have Evil Sherry. We have John DeMarco. Welcome, everyone. And again, this is just kind of this is the third part in this series, and it's as many of you know. Danny has MS, and he served in the United States military, and he did two major deployments, and we're going to go through those and talk about his memories. I don't type, otherwise I type them out for him, but this is the best we can do with what I'm capable of. So. Basically, these aren't really an interview. It's just him going, and I'll ask questions as I see them or as they come up. So with that, it's all yours.
Thank you. And I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing me talk about Bosnia. So let's move on, shall we?
Sure.
Let's see. What happened after Bosnia? Okay, one more story about Bosnia. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, one more.
If you twist your arm, right?
Yeah, you can twist my arm. So there I was.
Yeah.
It turns out that Hootie and the Blowfish was on a USO tour in '98.
Okay.
And so our company got the notice that we were only allowed to send like 80 people from Camp McGovern, or maybe it was 180. I'm not sure. Anyway, we were only allowed to send so many people down to the concert at Camp Eagle from Camp McGovern. And so my entire platoon, no joke, the entire support platoon, because they knew I had all three of their albums at that point. And I was listening to it constantly and walking around the Sea Hut singing the songs out there at the fuel point, just let her go.
Yeah.
So I was out there constantly singing away, and everyone in my platoon said, "No, Specialist Christopher has to go."
Yeah.
They were doing a lottery, right? Everybody's name went into a bucket, and you pull out 180 names or whatever, and those people could go down to Camp Eagle for the concert. And my entire platoon they all said, "No, Specialist Christopher gets a pass."
Yeah.
I was like, "Thank you guys. That is so awesome. Thank you."
Yeah.
So I got to go see them live at Camp McGovern. Oh, that was fantastic. And Darius Rucker is a fantastic person in real life. In real life, he's just a wonderful, wonderful person. So glad he switched over to country music.
Yes, you saw the light.
He saw the light. A few weeks later, the 1st Cavalry Division Band came over, and they were doing holiday concerts throughout Bosnia. When they got up to Camp McGovern and did a few songs there, well, like an hour worth of marches and military tunes, and "I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free," all that stuff. And
yeah.
it was fantastic. I loved it, right? And so my re-enlistment option was coming up, and at that time you could opt for a new military occupation specialist, right? Specialty. So I could switch my MOS. Well, I hadn't gone to the School of Music. I hadn't auditioned for the School of Music. So they had the bass player come back to the barracks with me, and I noodled around on the bass for a little while, and he had me follow a few charts, and I mostly kept up. My skill
Mhm.
set at that point had been, 4 years gone. So they were like, well, with a year or so of practice, you might be able to go to the School of Music. I was like, sweet. So
Yeah.
I went and re-enlisted with the option to go on the job training with the First Cav Band. That's who I redeployed from Bosnia with, was the First Cav Band.
Yeah.
Boy, did that screw up everything.
How so?
All of my mail kept going to 1-8 Cav.
Oh.
So I didn't get mail for like 3 months
Oh, oops.
when I got back to the States.
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't show up for that for that jury duty, but it went to the wrong unit. Didn't get it. Lost in the mail. Sorry about all those bills I didn't pay too, because that went to the wrong unit.
Yeah. So when my reenlistment came up at Fort Hood, I was going to use my reenlistment option to go to the School of Music. I went to the reenlistment counselor, and he said, well, you already used your first reenlistment option to get into the band, so now you can't use it to go to the School of Music and change your MOS. And I said, well, I guess I'm going to get out then.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I got out of the Army.
Yeah.
Left and moved to LA, worked at LAX. And then, I think we talked about this a little bit last week.
Yeah, just a tad. We touched on it, yeah.
Yeah, I was living in LA. Working at LAX, yeah. Actually, I had a lot of fun at LAX. I really did. Doing fuel, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked the swing shift, so the airport, and of course I was working on a fixed base operation, so it was all private jets and stuff. I was, who was that? John Travolta would land his own jet there, and we'd tow it onto the ramp and fuel it up for him. He flew a 707 at that time. I'm not sure if he still does or not. Rupert Murdoch had his own 737, completely customized. I actually told NSYNC to stop smoking pot on the ramp and wait until they got off of LAX property.
Yeah, that might be just a hint.
Yeah, stuff like that.
You may want to wait till you're off the tarmac.
Anyway, at some point, I think it was Saudi Arabia Airlines was there. So we packed up their 747 and got that out off the ramp. And by that time, it was like 3:00 in the morning. So I was doing a 12-hour shift at that point. But I couldn't leave until I filled the fuel truck. So I went to the fuel point, filled the fuel truck, bring it back. And I accidentally hit the water truck while I was backing the fuel truck in. And I didn't even realize I had done it, because it really was. I mean, I scraped a little bit of the paint off the side, and I didn't even realize I had done it. So I parked it, and they suspended me for 3 days. Would you like to take a guess of what day I backed the fuel truck into the water tank?
September 10th.
September 10th, 2001.
Yep.
So I was asleep in bed. Grandfather knocked on the door. He said, "We're under attack." And I went, "What?"
Says who? What? When?
What?
I hit a water truck. What else is new? It's no big deal.
No, my grandfather was a World War II veteran, and so when he said we're under attack, he actually knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, I've seen this before.
I went out to the living room and I sat there for a day and a half, and I was like, okay, time to go call a recruiter.
Yep. So when you re-enlist, what do you re-enlist as? Just fueler?
Yeah, I went back to being a fueler. There was not an option for prior service to switch MOS.
Okay.
Even though they did make me take the ASVAB again. I think I told you I scored a 93 on the ASVAB in
Yeah.
1995. In 2001, I scored a 98 on the ASVAB.
Well, there you go. You got some improvement.
Yeah,
So the
well,
old gray bear knows a little bit more tricks.
and then they said, well, yeah, you still can't change your MOS. Well, I guess I'm a fueler.
Yes.
But they did give me choice of duty station, so I went to Fort Carson, Colorado.
Okay. So what happens when you get to Colorado?
I was assigned to the 59th Quartermaster Company. Now, the 59th Quartermaster Company is a bulk fuel company. Let me explain what that means. We built and maintained bulk fuel storage and delivery systems.
Okay.
So we had bags, rubberized Kevlar bags, 50,000 gallons each,
Oh,
that
that
we would
sounds
set up
wonderful.
in series and basically six-pack configurations. So each six-pack would have, 40, 40, 40, 120, so 280,000 gallons of fuel in each six-pack configuration.
You don't light a match.
It's all jet fuel. You're fine. Unless, of course, the temperature goes up above 120.
Oh, yeah. Then it goes boom.
Yeah. But no, of course, we had no smoking signs everywhere.
Yeah.
Two 350-gallon per minute pumps that would take the fuel in and then pump the fuel out. So the 350 GPM pumps, we'd receive the fuel and then send the fuel out to, waiting trucks to deliver to other places. Now, we didn't get to practice that very much in the States.
Yeah.
I mean, we practiced laying out the bags, laying out the hoses and stuff, but we never actually got the opportunity to do the job other than at Fort Irwin when we went to the National Training Center for training. And we were only allowed to set up 12 bags there. And it had to be in a certain area, and it had to be this, and it had to be that. And we couldn't drop a single drop of fuel on the ground anywhere ever. Otherwise, we were digging 50 pounds of dirt for every drop of fuel.
Ooh.
And disposing of it. And it came out of our budget, which is why we never did it.
Yeah.
And we couldn't practice with water because these were the bags we were going to take with us. So we couldn't put water in the bags to practice with.
No.
We had to use fuel. Otherwise, it was just laying out the bags, rolling them back up, laying out the hoses, rolling them back up, laying out the pumps, towing them back in. I mean, we never actually got to practice with fuel except for that one time at NTC. And that was it.
Okay. So do you deploy right from there, or do you have a stopover before that?
I will get into that because there was nothing going directly into Iraq at that time.
Okay.
Everything went through Kuwait.
Yes.
We had liberated Kuwait in 91, and we had forces in Kuwait from 91 all the way through. Well, I think they're still there today for all I know. I don't keep up with modern army stuff.
Yeah.
I think we still have a presence in the Middle East, though. I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure of it, yeah.
Pretty sure our bases are still in Kuwait. I don't know. I don't care. Kuwait's a pretty safe place.
Yeah.
Hot as.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. You want
a little warm.
You want to know what hell feels like? Go to Kuwait. Let's see. In March, I think the temperature was only 95 degrees.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. I mean, it was hot, but we were coming from the mountains in Colorado in March.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and so
little bit of a temperature switch.
40, 50 degrees during the day, 95 degrees during the day. We were like, man, it's hot.
Yeah. Wake up call.
But before I get to actually deploying, I want to mention this story. In 2002, we had gotten back from the NTC where we had practiced with actual fuel in the bags, and we were all getting ready to go on leave for Christmas.
Okay.
Right, we were all going to go see our families, and everybody's leave forms were all signed, and we were all ready to go. And most of us had 10 days to 2 weeks that we could go on leave and travel wherever we wanted to visit family, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The day before I was supposed to leave Colorado to go to California, I got a call from my platoon sergeant. It said, Sergeant Christopher. Was I a sergeant? No, I was still a specialist at that time. Specialist Christopher, your leave has been canceled.
Oh.
I said, oh, why?
Wow, humbug.
I mean, it's not unusual. Sometimes they're just shorthanded with personnel over the holidays. My wife was pissed, but
yeah, I would imagine.
Anyway, they said, he said, your leave has been canceled, and we have a meeting at the company at 0300 in the morning. I said, what do you mean we have a meeting at 0300? What the hell's going on? I can't tell you. You just need to show up at the company at 0300. 0300? Are you serious? You're going to do a P test on us before we go on leave?
Yeah.
Can't tell you. Because they would always do that. Wake us up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and have us come into the company for a surprise. It's a P test. Like,
yeah,
we didn't know it was going to happen, right?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody and their brother knew what was going down, but yeah, surprise. Yeah.
So we all showed up groggy in our PTs because we knew we were going to have to do PT after the P test.
Mm-hmm.
So we all showed up. The company commander came out of her office. She stood there. She said, I got a warning order. And we all just stared at her. There are warning orders, and then there are operation orders.
Okay.
Warning orders say, be prepared for an operation order. Okay, a warning order. I got a warning order, so I canceled all the leaves, and we're going to stay here and train.
Oh, she definitely is not the favorite person who's getting a Christmas gift under a tree, is she?
Good Lord, we were pissed.
Oh boy. she
didn't
win any brownie points that day, I take it.
We didn't deploy till February.
Oh, yeah. Oops. Whoops.
It would have been one thing to go on leave at Christmas, see family, say hello, sing carols, open presents, stuff like that. It would have been one thing to go on leave at Christmas and then come back and, oh, we got a warning order. We need to start getting ready and packing up and doing all this stuff. I'd have been okay with that. I'd have been fine with that. No problem. And then on top of canceling our leave for Christmas, we actually deployed to Kuwait on my birthday.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday, Merry Christmas, all rolled into one.
I'm like, son of a bitch, this is going to be a really bad year.
Yes. So
yeah, February
what exactly for us civvy folk, what exactly does that change? So you're on base regular, and you're obviously training and stuff like that. What does a warning order training day differ from your everyday on base?
That's the problem that so many experienced soldiers had with that, is that it really doesn't change anything.
Oh.
We continued to train. We continued to pull maintenance on our vehicles. We continued to do PT in the morning. And we continued to sit around the company until 5:30 when the first sergeant decided he wanted to go home and we could all leave then.
Ah, lovely.
5:30, 6, 7 o'clock, whatever. We had to sit
So,
around the company literally waiting for the first sergeant to decide that he wanted to go home.
right. So she cancels your Christmas leave
And nothing changed.
and nothing changed.
That's right. Until we
Oh,
actually started packing up, and that was the beginning of February. So for an
yeah.
entire
She
month,
didn't get any Christmas cards that year, did she?
Oh, she didn't. She didn't.
Oh boy. I'm not sure how wise of a maneuver that. So, just to put this into perspective, you leave in February. How long are you gone?
Since I was on the first wave that actually breached the berm and went into the country, mine was only 6 months.
Okay.
Now, some companies that breached the berm and went in, they stayed longer than 6 months, but we were support and we got relieved and we left.
But that's still okay. So you're supposed to go on leave in December.
Yeah.
They cancel the leave in December.
Right.
So December, January, that's 2 months, 8 months, 7, 8. So that's 8 months before you actually get home. 9, maybe, right?
December to July. I came home in July, so I guess it was only 5 months I was gone.
Okay.
Yeah, I came home in July. 7 months.
Yeah.
We were, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like,
It's
yeah.
like that scene in Spaceballs. Prepare for ludicrous speed. Prepare for ludicrous speed. Prepare for ludicrous.
Yeah.
Why are you always preparing? Just go.
Yeah, just go. Yeah. Yeah. We're ready to go. Can we go now? No? All right. It's like, the kids on a road trip. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? But instead it's, are we ready yet? Are we ready now?
I mean,
how about now?
We had to take. We all had to go through physicals. We all had to get inoculations and stuff like that. It was all right. I mean, no, it was not all right that leave was canceled.
Yeah.
But it was everything leading up to the deployment was a pain, but it was necessary. Updating wills and powers of attorney and all that other stuff.
You know what? A lot of people don't realize that happens. Maybe go through that procedure just a little bit more in depth, because a lot of people don't, like, that isn't a natural step that people think about when they think of a deployment.
Oh, that's
right?
True, huh?
You're right. Like, a lot of people don't see, like, that isn't a natural place your brain goes when you're thinking, okay, this person's deploying. They have to, make sure their guns are all good and that they know what they're doing with their materials, but they don't look at, well, there's also the personal side,
administrative side.
That has to be covered. So maybe go into exactly what that entails a little bit more.
Well, you've heard a lot of veterans talk about hurry up and wait, right? I mean, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty common theme for soldiers, for military, is hurry up, get here at this time, and then you wait around forever, and you just keep waiting and waiting and waiting. Well, in this case, when you're preparing for a deployment, you're waiting to get a physical done, or you're waiting to get an inoculation, or you're waiting to get X number of stamps on this piece of paper, or you're waiting to see a counselor, or you're waiting to, there's so many things leading up to a deployment. It's just ridiculous. But you're there for, hopefully, if everything's running correctly, you're only there for a day. But that is a very long day.
I would imagine, yeah.
going from office to office and standing in every line and waiting and hurrying up and then waiting some more and then, hey, can we go to lunch now? I haven't eaten anything since 5 o'clock this morning.
Yeah. Yeah. You think we should get some chow? What do you think? No, we got to line up for that. Okay.
All right.
So
So you
now you
sit down.
covered. So sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you sit down with a counselor, and a counselor goes over your records, and they say, okay, so you've passed the physical, you've gotten your inoculations. Now you've got X amount of dollars for your life insurance, and it was mandatory that we had life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So they go over how much you got in life insurance, and then they decide, or they go over who your beneficiaries are. And if there are
Okay.
no changes, you're good to go. They sign off on the paper for that. And then they
Okay.
go into, do you need a will? No, I've already got a will. Do you need a power of attorney? No, I've already got a power of attorney. And they want to know who the power of attorney is going to. They want to know who the beneficiaries are for the will and all that other stuff. We go over the same questions over and over and over again. And
Mm-hmm.
then you go to a different office and they, you know, give you a questionnaire that says, you have to answer so many math problems in so many seconds so that we can determine if you have a traumatic brain injury when you get back. You answer the same math problems after you get back. And if you can still do the same, then you don't have a traumatic brain injury,
Yeah.
you know?
Although maybe the math questions might cause a traumatic brain injury. That's neither here nor there.
I mean, these math questions are easy. It's literally 2 plus 2, 2 minus 2. It's not super hard.
Yeah, it's not define pi.
Right. 3.1415. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I need more paper.
Yeah. All right. So you get all that stowed away and then you go overseas. So what does that look like? Do you just deploy like from the United States right into Kuwait, right into Iraq, or
Well,
are there stops along the way?
let's get up to what we're doing in order to prepare for this, right? We are
Okay.
a fuel company,
Yes.
literally a bulk fuel storage and delivery company. So we need to take as much of that equipment as we possibly can with us.
Yeah.
We're talking about 50,000 gallon bags. We're talking about thousands of hoses. We're talking about 3 dozen pumps, So all of our inventory needs to be loaded, and they all get loaded on a train, a flatbed train, in order to get to like Long Beach Naval Station or something like that, so they can get loaded onto a boat and delivered to Kuwait.
Okay.
So we pack everything up and we pack them in shipping containers, and we put those shipping containers on trucks that show up at Fort Carson. And then we go to the railhead at Fort Carson and we load the trucks and the Humvees and the fuel tankers and all that other stuff up. And that gets shipped out by train. And then we take our 2 duffel bags and our rucksack and 1 personal bag. Isn't that nice? So you're
Yes.
trying to carry 2 duffel bags, a personal bag, and a rucksack, and your body armor, and your helmet, and your weapon.
And did you get a donkey?
We were the donkeys.
I figured, yeah.
What's drain bramage? Exactly.
Yeah. But okay, so once you get, your 2 new arms sewed on, so
Yeah.
that you can carry all this.
We get to the plane and we load up on the plane. And of course, this is Colorado. So we fly from Colorado to someplace like New Jersey. Okay.
Okay.
And we stop there, although at that time in 2003, we weren't even allowed to get off the plane. So it was like a 2-3 hour flight to New Jersey. We get there, the plane refuels, and then we fly to Ireland. When we got to Ireland, they actually did let us off the plane. Thank God.
Yeah.
I had been without a cigarette in about 11 hours at that point.
Yeah, that's never a good. You know what? I took a train ride from Winnipeg to Long Lac, which is about 15 hours, give or take.
Now, on
And
the plane, we had our personal weapon, our body armor, and our personal bag.
yeah,
And it was Coach. So the weapon was laying down at our feet. Personal bag was on our lap because we couldn't put anything in the overhead storage. And our body armor was stuffed as far under the seat as it could. So we were sitting in the plane seat like this. Let me turn the camera on real quick. So we were sitting in the plane seat like this for about 8 hours.
oh, lovely. Oh, joy. Ow. Yeah, they need to carry me off that plane because my body would be locked as a son of a. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have
Yeah,
made it
that
now.
would have ended.
I made it
Yeah,
then,
that ended
now,
badly.
Sure.
Yeah, that would have ended very badly. Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, we got to Ireland, and then we stopped, I believe, in Germany, but we weren't allowed off the plane there. Or maybe we stopped in Germany on the way back. I think we flew directly into Kuwait from Ireland. I could be mistaken. It was a long time ago. I forgot.
Yeah.
Either way, we got to Kuwait. We got off the plane, and we were like, "Oh, wow, weird."
Yeah.
I mean, I'd been, of course, to Bosnia, but Bosnia was more Eurocentric than the Middle East. And
Yeah.
Kuwait is a fairly westernized. You're right, Rabid Slug. You did not need to see that. I don't think anybody did. Anyway, yeah, we got to Kuwait, and Kuwait, of course, is a Middle Eastern country. Very westernized Middle Eastern country, but still a Middle Eastern country.
Yeah.
So the script on the buildings, even though it had English words underneath the script, it was still, the Arabic language. It was like weird. It really was, and there was neon everywhere. I mean, Las Vegas has a lot of neon, but so does Kuwait.
They're in competition, are they?
So they took us to the first base, and I can't remember the name of it, but it had been there for, at that point, 12 years, something like that. So they took us. I can't remember the name of it, though. But we landed at night or early in the morning, and then we were on the bus for an hour getting to that base. And we started unloading the bus in the morning. Yeah, I think that's right. And palletizing all our stuff because we weren't staying there. We were moving on to a different base out in the middle of nowhere. So we were palletizing. Oh, I forgot about the trunks. We got black trunks that we could pack some personal items. Somebody actually packed an entire trunk with cigarette cartons. Like, he didn't want to bring any other personal stuff. He just literally packed the entire trunk with cigarettes.
Well, there you go. He's devoted to his brand, is he?
The sergeant was pissed.
I would imagine.
It's like, you don't have any deodorant. You don't have any soap. You don't have any.
Those are minor things. I have my
Uh-huh.
nicotine. I'm
You
good.
don't have any toothbrush. You don't have any washcloth.
No, I need nicotine.
Yeah. Oh boy, I wish I had followed his example.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I need nicotine. Good nicotine. All right.
Anyway, that was funny. But yeah, we had the personal trunk as well. So we palletized all that, loaded it all up on trucks, and sent that out. And then we were allowed to go to breakfast or lunch or whatever the hell time of day it was. I don't know. So we walked through the base, and it was so incredibly overcrowded. Just unbelievably overcrowded. There were thousands of men and women just trying to get all to the same place at the same time, because there was only a little tiny convenience store. We called it a shopette, right? Run by the Air Force, Army Air Force Exchange Service. So we called it shopette. It was just one little tiny shopette, and everybody was trying to get there to get something,
Yeah.
some kind of luxury item. And everybody was trying to get into the dining facility at the same time. And all of the porta potties were overflowing. And, it was disgusting. It was horrible. But yeah, we slept in a warehouse that night. Just a bunch of cots laid out on I guess it might have been an air hangar.
Okay.
It may have just been a storage warehouse that they cleaned out for the deployment. I'm not sure.
So
But
you're
yeah,
not staying in Club Ritz, is what you're telling me.
No, boy, was that mighty nice. And I snore, but some of those guys in there had nothing on me, or I had nothing on them. Whichever way. I mean, it was like the roof was, those cartoons where you see the roof bowing in and then bulging out and bowing in and bulging out. That's what it was like. And you wake up in the morning and the smell. Oh my God. That place had absolutely no ventilation whatsoever.
Oh boy. That's a wake-up call.
I mean, wow. You've got 400 men all in this one warehouse, sleeping foot to toe or head to foot in gigantic rows in this gigantic warehouse, and everybody's passing gas.
Well, you're fuelers. It's expected, right?
Oh, no. It wasn't just fuelers. There was everybody mixed up in there. Anyway, we finally got out of there, and some of our vehicles were still in Kuwait. Some of them had been shipped up to Camp New York. That's where we went to, Camp New York. It was just a few miles away from the border of Iraq. And I think they had tents set up for us there. So we didn't have to use our own tents, I don't think. We did have to use our own cots. So we had to unload a whole bunch of stuff in order to get to the cots and then pass them out. And then load all that stuff back up. And then unload it all again later. And
yeah, of course.
Cots back in because the cots belong right here. And then load all the stuff up after the cots.
Yeah, that sounds like a whole bunch of work for nothing. Yeah.
Oh boy, and it actually got hotter the farther away from the port that we got.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how that was possible. This is March, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be hot in March.
Yeah. It's supposed to be warm, not hot. What the hell? Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure the tents were already set up, so we didn't have to set up our own tents. That comes later. Whew. Boy, that was fun too. But we did have to use our own cots, and at some point, a bunch of the cots got broken, so we didn't have enough cots to go around. Some people were sleeping on the ground. Anyway, yeah, we were at Camp New York, I think, for a couple of weeks, and there was no shop-at there, the little convenience store. So once a week, the AFIES would send a truck, a tractor-trailer truck, and you were only allowed to buy X amount of certain items.
Okay.
Right? So you couldn't buy 10 cartons of cigarettes.
Yeah.
You couldn't buy 8 12-packs of soda.
Yeah.
And naturally, because it's a Middle Eastern country, you couldn't buy alcohol at all. So
Yeah.
they didn't even have it on the truck.
Yeah.
But you would have been rationed on that too.
You need to find the British soldiers to find that stuff.
It's like, dude, okay. I had brought like 4 cartons with me.
Yeah.
Just assuming it would be more like Bosnia than it was. I was mistaken. By the time I was on my last carton, we finally got the AFIES truck coming, and we could only buy 2 cartons. And so it was like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Who can I buy cigarette? Oh, where's that guy who had a crate of this stuff? We need to talk.
Yeah, so I bought a couple of 12 packs of Mountain Dew and a couple of cartons of cigarettes, and I said, yeah, that's all I need. Put it in my personal Foot Locker. No jelly donuts. Somebody will get that reference.
Okay.
Foot Locker jelly donut.
All right.
You don't get that reference? Really?
No, my brain isn't fully awake today. So.
Oh, fair enough. Well, somebody will. Put it in the chat, everybody. All right. So we were in Kuwait. All of our equipment is there. We had to figure out how to palletize it all, load it all into trucks, take as much of it with us as we possibly could. There you go. Mark the Infinitely Tired knows what it is.
Yeah. Well, he's more awake than me at this point. So he's getting brownie points.
So, yeah, we had to get as much of it as we possibly could into Iraq. What was it? The 27th, I think, is when we went in, or was it the 23rd? I don't know. It's all a blur. I wasn't actually paying attention. But the day before we went in, we had one last chance to call home. And, of course, we were told that we couldn't say anything. Of course, we didn't actually know when we were going in. They just said, everybody needs to go make a phone call to your family right now. Get your letters all mailed off. And so we did. We made that final phone call. And we lined up. And we waited. And we waited.
Seems to be a theme.
And we waited, and we slept in the truck, and we waited some more. And then we heard a distant thump. So I don't know how much you know about explosives. All right, there's these things called Bangalores. Bangalores? The big long tubes filled with C4 explosive. And det cord goes from one to the other. You see them in Saving Private Ryan when they're sticking the tubes under the German defenses to blow up the berms, right? That's okay. A Bangalore, right? And you stick the tubes together and you shove them in and you run det cord out of it, and then they blast off the det cord and it blows up the Bangalore and makes a great big hole in the berm. Well, they did that, but that's not like a bomb coming down and exploding on the surface. That's literally like an underground thing.
Yeah.
And so all we heard was a thump, and then we saw sand geysering up in the sky.
Oh, lovely.
And the sergeants all said, Go on, get in your trucks, get them fired up. Let's go.
Yeah, that's one heck of a. We're on the road. Yeah, you think? Which way are we going? Oh, just follow that plume of sand. I'm pretty sure
Go
that's the
that
direction we're
way.
going. Pretty sure that's the direction we're going. Did anybody go? Well, so who was the genius that blew up the road that we have to go on? Just a thought.
Road?
Road.
Where we're
Yeah,
going, there ain't roads.
no road. Yeah, we gonna make it. So, obviously, your trucks are in the back, so your tanks and Bradleys would be in the front, and you'd be behind.
Yeah. No, all the armored and all the fighting forces went ahead of us. Yeah. They call a lot of, well, not so much in 2003 because we didn't really have much else we could do. I mean, we were right there in the thick of it in 2003. Although me personally, I've never fired my rifle at anyone or in a war zone.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't actually in any fighting at any point.
No, you just like to take random walks in war zones. As we found out from Bosnia.
Bosnia wasn't a war zone at that time. It was safe.
That's why you had a gun, right? Anyway.
Yeah. Safe enough anyway.
Safe enough. All right. So you guys push off. What does that look like? So the armor goes ahead, obviously.
Well,
you're not going to lead the charge with, a fuel tanker because that could end badly.
Let's actually go back to that couple of weeks that we were in Kuwait, because this is
all right.
A couple of funny stories happened there. Of course.
All right.
I mean, we're talking about military guys, and we're in Kuwait. So whatever day it was, the 23rd or 27th, I don't remember. We breached the berm and we go in. But before that, there was a bunch of scare about chemical weapons and things like that, and Scud missiles and whatever. Well, Kuwait, the camps at the border in Kuwait, we're actually receiving fire, like rocket fire, mortar fire, stuff like that, from Iraq.
Yeah.
Right? The military was right there waiting for us to breach the berm and go in. And so they were firing rockets and mortars and artillery and all that other stuff. And we were never sure if there was a chemical weapons payload.
Okay.
So we were in what we call MOP gear, right?
All right.
You have a charcoal suit that is about 15 pounds.
Whoops.
And rubber boots and rubber gloves, and you always carried your mask with you, your gas mask with you.
Yeah.
Right on your hip. And so every time the siren would go off, you had to go get into a bunker, put your mask on, and strap it down real tight, put your hood over your mask so you're safe from chemical weapons, right?
Yeah.
Because charcoal suit is going to save you from some kind of blistering agent or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, sure.
From having a bad day. Yeah.
So at that point, everybody, the very first time it happened, there were a bunch of us who just ran to the bunker, put our mask on, sat down and waited. There were a bunch of guys who were, first year in the Army, something like that. They had graduated from basic training, they had graduated from AIT, and then they came to their first duty station. Maybe they had been to NTC with us. Maybe they had gotten there between NTC and the deployment, whatever. So they had very little experience at all with anything.
Yeah.
And one guy was in the tent and he had forgotten where he put his mask.
Whoops.
So he was walking up and down the aisle in the tent going, "Where's my mask? Where's my mask? I got to get to the bunker. I got to get to the bunker. I got to get to the bunker. Where's my mask? Where's my mask? Where's my mask?"
Whoops.
His buddy
he fit in 2021. Who knew?
Let's go. Come on. Pushed him out the door.
Yeah. I mean, he'd fit in 2021. Who knew? Anyway, hoorah! All right, so you have these incidents. But yeah, that would be funny to watch some Dinkeldorf running around looking for his mask. Yeah, it's like just go, dum dum. Um,
Well, obviously, we're in more danger from shrapnel and
yeah,
stuff like that than we were from chemical weapons, but we didn't know that at the time.
yes,
So we were, we were in our mop suit for about a month and a half. Call it 6 weeks. We were in our mop suit.
lovely.
Yeah, you really don't want to know what they smelled like.
No, I don't. I really don't. Heat and
Really
weight.
don't want.
Yeah, no. I've
Woo-wee.
my son's football gear is bad enough for me. Yeah.
But yeah, that was Kuwait in a nutshell. I mean, there were tons more incidents, of course. I mean, somebody trips over a tent rope and their rifle goes flying 10 feet away. A moron decides that he wants to play with his rounds in his rifle and has an accidental discharge. So we're all sitting there getting bitched out by the company commander and then the first sergeant and then every platoon sergeant and then every squad leader. Blah, 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 weapon safety, blah, blah, blah.
Settle down, cowboy. Bullets hurt, dum dum. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, even on a field exercise in the States, when it's basically just camping.
Yeah.
You get so damn tired of playing spades. Oh, so you switch to poker, and then you're not allowed to play poker. Start playing spades again. Oh, fine.
Why would they not allow you to play poker?
Because gambling is not allowed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is frowned upon.
Gambling and drinking and sex are not allowed.
Yeah. All the good shit in life. Well, damn.
And every single soldier followed that rule to the letter.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, is what that sounds like. That sounds about as convincing as we have these new technologies, but don't worry, we won't use them, says every politician in the world. That sounds about as convincing as that speech. But yeah, all right, we'll buy it.
And there was never a constant dice game going on in the corner.
Yeah, obviously, never, no. And Mark the Inflatired points out.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Mark. There was no gambling going on.
Yeah. Nah. How do you think Danny got more cigarettes? It just magically happened, honest.
What? Certainly wasn't prison yard rules or anything.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. No, never. Never in a million years would this happen. No, we're in a civilized age. What are you talking about?
Honestly, I really didn't. Until my third deployment, I didn't gamble and I didn't drink. And of course, I was married, so I didn't have sex.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's those technicalities, but whatever. But I'm pretty sure
I didn't have sex when I was deployed or not deployed. I was married.
Yeah, you were married. Yeah, it kind of goes with the territory. It's kind of a prerequisite, isn't it? But anyway, so but what does a camp in like? Okay, so as opposed to like your camp once you go over the berm compared to being in Kuwait, what does the camp differ? Or how does it differ?
Mainly in where you go to the bathroom.
Okay. How so?
In Kuwait, there were shower tents where you could go get a shower.
Yeah.
There were porta potties that got serviced on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Hopefully, got serviced on a daily basis. And then, of course, there was a dining tent where they would boil the sea rations and open the tins and serve a hot meal. That's what they called hot meals.
Hot meal.
Yeah. Twice a day. So you'd get green eggs and ham in the morning and overcooked everything else at night.
Yeah.
But at least it was hot.
Yeah.
At that point, MREs, the meals ready to eat, they had heaters in them. So we had hot food all day.
Okay.
Yeah. But that was a morale thing. Like you had what looked like real food on a plate instead of eating out of a aluminum pouch.
Yeah.
So it was a morale thing. I get that. It just wasn't very good food. But once we breached the berm and went in, well, it was a 4-day convoy. Literally, we didn't stop until we reached Objective Ram. But a camp in Kuwait, a typical camp, hopefully has a slit trench filled with rocks. And that's where the men would go urinate. And sometimes the women would urinate there too.
Oh, okay.
And then there was as deep a hole as you could get and a wooden shack built on top of it. And sometimes you would actually have a toilet seat.
Oh.
Otherwise, it was just a hole in a plywood board and you do your business there. Now,
Yeah.
The food was MREs 3 times a day. If you had MREs for food 3 times a day, usually twice a day, sometimes only once a day. And so there was no hot food, and no showers. It was bird baths. It was all bird baths. If you were smart, you got 2 5-gallon buckets and you labeled them.
Okay.
Because the 1 5-gallon bucket is the one you sat on to do number 2.
Yeah.
And the other 5-gallon bucket you filled with water, sat in the sun to warm up, and then use that for your bird bath.
Gotcha.
If you got those two confused, well,
it's a bad day.
yeah, don't get those two confused.
Yeah. It's a bad day at the office. All right. So I think this is a good pausing point, which is the push off into Iraq.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's a good pausing point. And so we'll pause here, and in 2 weeks we'll return, and Danny Christopher will go over Iraq and the fun and entertainment that he had in there. And it's eventually we're going to get to a story where a fuel bag went boom. But you know, I love that story. I know, but I love that story, and it's just fuel bag go boom. It's good. It's great. Fuel bag go boom.
that is a 2-part story, by the way.
Yes. Fuel bag go boom. It's a great story. But we will carry on with this, and in 2 weeks, so not next Friday, but the Friday after, our good friend Mr. CCDV or Danny Christopher will join us again, and we will go for part 4. And I hope you will all join us then. And until then, as my late co-host would say, thank you and good night.